This is Scuba Goat
Under the Sea,
the podcast for the inquisitive diver.
Hey there, dive buddies, and welcome to the show. During this episode, I'm touching base with a couple of buddies of mine, Kristian Parton of Shark and Ray Entanglement, who has started his own YouTube channel called Shark Bites, and also director of Shark Guardian, Brendon, who's going to give us an update on how things are progressing with the petition to UK Parliament to ban the importation of shark fins. But before that, I just want to take this opportunity to thank all of the guests and supporters of Scuba Goat throughout its infancy and announce that as we progress into 2021, we have some exciting changes ahead. Now it's time to put on my big boy fins and take the giant stride entry into high quality production. Now that doesn't mean that I've been to night school and learnt anything new, far from it, just the dawn of realisation that we need to step up the game. So I've found a professional sound studio right here in Sydney. Woohoo! 2021 is looking so good. I cannot wait to get in there and give it a go. So once again, thank you for all of your support. And I just want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy the festivities and let's look forward to a much better New Year.
They're all going diving. They're all down here on long weekends and holidays. And it's, you know what? I really like it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm not jealous in the slightest, honest.
No.
And I'm not jealous of either of you. You've both got incredibly warm weather, and outside right now, it's pouring down. Literally, I can see the rain lashing against the window. It's less than 7 degrees.
Nice. Well, I've got the fan on, and I've had to pull the blind because the sun's too bright.
Yeah, I've already had my first shower today because I've already been sweating this morning, running around with the girls outside.
That's the thing. Look, I've not got sunburn at all. It's red from the heat.
Here's me, double parked with a coffee and a Baileys at 1:04 a.m. Cheers, fellas.
Happy days. I like it.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you have to look at the positives in life. There's always somebody else worse off.
Yeah. If it's any consolation, Kristian, the missus and I have booked to go away for a long weekend further up the coast here because it's obviously gloriously sunny and perfect conditions. But this week it's meant to be lashing down all week. The visibility is going to be like half a metre, so we're probably not even going to get in the water. So there's your consolation prize. How's the YouTube channel going?
Oh, I am loving it, Matt. Absolutely loving doing it. So we've just literally ended the first season because I thought 15 episodes was, I'd say, about a season, and I think it's important to kind of have a break, take stock, refresh ideas. Let some more content kind of come out in the world that I can actually sort of have a look at in the videos. And then it gives me a chance to just kind of have a real think about the channel and how to grow it and lots of new ideas and stuff, how I can kind of incorporate maybe a younger audiences, like with things like a creature feature and stuff like that. Because at the moment it's sort of targeted at kind of like 16 to 25-ish, that sort of young YouTuber kind of snappy type stuff. But I also I do want to do stuff for the kids as well, because they're the ones that actually are going to continue to watch YouTube as they're growing up.
Yeah.
So to have little things like, a creature feature in 60 seconds or something just catches that audience straight away. And it gives me a little bit of time to kind of think about those ideas now for season 2. But I'm absolutely loving doing it. Yeah, love it to bits.
Have you thought about stuff for geriatrics like me and Brendon?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
I'll have to have a hard think about that one.
Yeah,
how can I captivate your audience?
Hey, well, Brendon's your
More
man.
Jacques Cousteau stuff.
Well, Brendon and Liz, because they're constantly doing the kids stuff at the schools and all that kind of stuff. Maybe you guys should talk together, and I'll stick with the geriatrics.
But that's the thing. I'm always looking at ways to try and grow it.
Absolutely, and we're always looking for content as well. Stuff to be able to share. So yeah, let's have a look at that.
Yeah.
Shark Bites.
Very cool.
Check it out. It's good. It's good. If I don't say so myself. It's not
Well,
too bad.
I do like the mix on the back wall there as well, seeing as you've got a couple of sharks and you've also got Boba Fett.
It's my love for Star Wars. You'll actually be so impressed that I also have this bad boy.
No way.
Oh no.
Well, yeah, I'm slightly crazy on Star Wars as well, and in particular at the moment, The Mandalorian, and that's my screen
I
time.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Love that Grogu life.
Happy days. Well, things are changing over here at the podcast as well. I'm going to be taking up a new position in January, albeit Nomadic Scuba's still going, and so Scuba Goat. But I like to keep busy, so another job. But I'm going to be on the road quite a lot, so I'm stepping up the game. There's a recording studio just around the corner here, so we're going to go all whistles and bells, all singing and dancing, in a proper kick-ass studio. So
Nice. That's awesome.
come the new year, we should ramp it up again and hopefully hit that one a week, maybe even more.
That'll be brilliant.
Love that. Get me on more. I want to be on more.
Easily done
Go
now
big
in
or
a
go
proper
home,
studio.
right?
Hell yeah. Now, leading in nicely, Brendon, come on, go big or go home. I think you've gone exceptionally big this year and
Oh
been
yes.
extremely successful so far. And this is why we're online now. I want to get an update. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth. What's going on, brother?
So with the success of the petition, we've had several replies and communication from the UK government, and they've all been extremely positive, right? We did an update just recently to show the positive response that we have from the government of the UK regarding the petition to ban shark finning to the UK. Now, there is some of it can be looked at as just them just repeating the same old jargon and the delaying, but there is actually a lot of positive news coming out of the UK regarding this issue. But I think that the even bigger news was just a little bit over a week ago, we received, well, actually there was a press release by the UK government that they're calling for evidence to look at the effect of shark finning as well as imports of shark finning to UK, and it is in direct response to the success of the petition. So it's massive, it's really, really big. And with that press release, what they're doing is they've created a portal for us as organizations, researchers, scientists, marine biologists, everybody within the field, anybody who's involved with anything to do with shark protection, have an opportunity to go into their survey and provide that evidence for the UK government. And it's due within the first week of January. Mm-hmm. We're collaborating with a bunch of organizations, including the Shark Project in the EU. We're in direct communication with Paul Cox from Shark Trust. And as a collaborated effort, we're actually putting this evidence together for the UK government. And it's looking extremely positive. So I hope that by, let's say, latest mid next year, we're going to find some really big announcements come out of the UK, and that is in direct result of our campaign.
Happy days. Congratulations, mate. That's excellent news.
Yeah, so that's it in a nutshell. Yeah.
And you're going to feel that over in the UK, hopefully, Kristian.
Oh, absolutely.
100%. I think that, I've already seen how much reach it's had, purely from the campaign alone, and to get that, over the line was such a great thing to happen, and I was so excited. Although I wasn't, playing a major role in the campaign, watching it kind of just start to snowball was such an exciting thing to see as someone who loves and cares about sharks so much. To see that get over the line was exciting, and then to see the news last week as well, that call to evidence, and starting to see people saying, yeah, I've got evidence and I'm going to send it straight in, was just really, really great to see.
Is there anything?
And the other positive thing I'd like to add there is that because the petition went through, I think everybody expects there to be a debate date for it to go to Parliament, for it to start being debated, but I think that the fact that they've actually put this call out for evidence actually suggests that they're beyond that.
Yeah.
So to a certain extent, I don't think there will even be a debate in Parliament. I think there's already action being taken. And I think that as soon as a lot of us put this evidence together, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
So it's really been fast-tracked to a certain point, and that's what's really exciting about this. It's actually gone above and beyond what the normal expectations are when it comes to results of a position, and it's really positive. Like, I can explain how positive that is, and it's really great.
Well, to be fair, I mean, it's got to have opened the eyes of those guys that do sit in Parliament, because albeit they're meant to be very well educated, etc., etc., it's only once something's highlighted that you actually get your attention drawn to it that you realise the severity of a situation. So I think there's probably quite a few of those guys that were completely oblivious to what's actually been allowed to access the country.
Absolutely, but and also on the other side, I think Parliament, they have so much on their plate, right? So think about there's Brexit, there's tons of other issues. So to a certain extent, you can also understand why something like this might not be on their radar. But at the same time, it's really surprising to see how many of them genuinely care about wildlife issues when it comes to sharks or general protection of wildlife. And that's what's really exciting about this too. And hands down to the UK government, that when they see things like this, they really take it on board. I don't think if we were anywhere else in Europe or the US, there's no way this would have gotten this far this quickly. Definitely not. So credit to the UK government for taking this to heart. Definitely.
It is definitely great to see that, for sure. The government does get a lot of flack, and rightly so in some cases, for sure. But it's great to see them actually, taking somewhat of a step forwards on this, because it's so important.
Yeah. Now, Brendon, is there anything that the general public can do to support what's going on right now?
Yeah, well, one of the things we are doing to highlight not only the petition, but also to help educate the MPs, is we created these awesome little postcards that we're getting the public to send to the MPs. So people can go on to our website and they can buy a stack of 20 postcards or more. And what they're doing is they're finding their MPs by going online and searching who their MP is, if they don't know already. And they can find their address, add their details to this postcard, and send it through. And we've been getting videos and pictures of people holding up their postcard next to the postbox or sticking it in there, which is great. We also created a portal where people can go onto our page, and there's an automated tweeting mechanism that we've added there. So if you go onto our campaign page, it says tweet your MP. Basically, a box comes up, you find your MP, you click tweet, an automated message comes up with the link and everything else. All you have to do is send. So we're making the process extremely easy. So it's to keep the MPs up to date with the petition. And just in case there is a possibility, maybe it still happens to go to Parliament for whatever reason, at least a lot of those MPs will kind of be in the loop of the campaign, the petition, and what it's about. So that's where people can help. We've had a few people email saying, "Oh, we've logged into the request for evidence from the government. What can I fill in?" And to be honest, we've actually sent a reply saying, "Look, we love that the public want to get involved and do this. However, at the moment, it's a coalition between organizations, scientists, and researchers who are really providing this evidence. Because if a lot of people jump on and just start filling in, whatever comes to mind onto this evidence block, it can dilute the important stuff when it gets to government. So we don't actually want a lot of public people going and writing all kinds of things in these evidence boxes to the UK government. So I suggested leave that to us, because we really have it in hand. We are dealing with people with that knowledge and expertise in this. But you can help through the campaign by pushing it towards your MPs, and that's the best people can do at this point, because the hard work of getting the petition is done, right? So that we did that, we won it. So now it's just supported by reminding the MPs about it.
So and just to hold on a moment, I think my computer's going crazy. Yeah, there we go.
Ever the popular, Matt.
It's the missus. What do I want for tea? Now, just picking up on what you said there, Brendon, you guys are doing the good stuff and putting all the information together for the MPs. But what we don't want to do is put people off that might have some really credible and good information that you could utilize. So just for those people, and I'm sure you don't mind me saying so, those people that might be watching now and now thinking of maybe not sending, just send it over to Brendon. Send it to Shark Guardian. If it's credible and it can be used, then it'll get used.
That's it. Yeah. And then quite rightly so, yeah, people do have, somebody it sends us an email and says, they're involved in trade out of the UK and they have experience working in fisheries. That'll be vital.
Yes.
As an example. So yes, that would be interesting to know.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, anecdotes can be incredibly valuable. Anecdotes are anecdotes at the end of the day. They're not, big reviews. They're not scientific papers, but anecdotes can provide additional data points. And me as a scientist in my research, I relied heavily on anecdotes of shark entanglements to inform, the papers that I was writing. So they can really, really make a difference. But like you said, we don't want to dilute it too much, but they can be helpful if used in the right way.
Exactly. That's correct. Yeah. So, Kristian, you had a chance to look at the evidence questionnaire. What did you think of it?
I thought it was, fair. I mean, it's not my speciality of shark research. I do know a fair few people who are working on it, and I know that they will have some really, really good data to submit to that evidence questionnaire. I mean, it was kind of like looking for sort of literature reviews and sort of systematic stuff. But again, it also called for anecdotes as well. But I know that a couple of researchers here at the University of Exeter, so there was Catherine Hobbs and I'm trying to remember his name now, Dr. Andrew Griffiths. He and Catherine wrote a paper a couple of years ago, actually, where they were using mini barcoding to analyse some fins that they'd got from a wholesaler in the UK. And now that data is definitely going to be sent across to the government, and that's going to really, really inform it. I think they got some dried fins from a UK-based wholesaler, and basically analysed them using this DNA barcoding, mini barcoding method, and we're able to identify from that some of the fins that were being sold and distributed to sort of Asian supermarkets and restaurants, they were from threatened species of sharks, like scalloped hammerheads, for example. So this is happening in our country. We know this is happening in our country, and the research by Dr. Andrew Griffiths and Catherine Hobbs is going to be vital in providing that evidence to the government and to kind of open their eyes, really.
There's no kind of getting around the fact there, is there? There's the proof in the pudding, and scientific proof at that. You can't say that it's all been safely done and it's just unimportant sharks, if they want to put it that way or whatever.
Oh, that's correct. And there's there is a lot of the questionnaire of call for evidence is so broad that that's why we're collaborating with some other organizations, because it's unlikely that one organization or individual is going to have the evidence or answers for all the questions that they're asking. So it certainly will. There's some questions that are definitely more suited to Dr. Andrew Griffiths and his team. Kristian will probably also support something in there. We support something in there. But we don't have to answer every single question. The idea is that we try and answer each of the questions to the best of our ability. Whatever we don't know, we're not sure about, rather than speculate, just leave that part out, and hopefully somebody else will fill in that gap.
Exactly. And that's why collaboration on this kind of stuff is so important. And it needs to, it does happen, but I always want it to happen more than it does, because when you collaborate with organizations and charities and researchers and scientists across this country, we have such a valuable pot of information there that collaboration can only provide good results.
That's right. And I'd like to actually read one of the questions out for you, if you like. And I'm just bringing up the evidence list. And the reason why we're so although the government doesn't actually specifically reference the recent petition and the success of it, But given the kind of questions they're asking, it's certainly very clear that it is. So one of the first questions that they get to after some of the information questions from the submitters is, please provide any evidence you have of the amount or value of shark fins entering the UK. And they ask, bullet pointed, the amount or value of sharks through the personal import allowance. So they know that, because obviously that was a big highlighted point of the petition.
Yeah. Which
shark species these are derived from. Any information on shark fins which do not require a CITES import or export permit. So in response to that, what we did is we kind of highlighted the fact that yes, there is this 20 kilogram allowance that goes under fish or fish products allowance category. There's a link to that. And then we've tried to provide some evidence on, you know, the amount of shark fin that takes up that import allowance, and also why that it makes it so difficult for anybody to try and find out which species they're coming from. Because first of all, if it's not even needing to be declared, nobody's going to look at it. So therefore, there's almost an under the radar trade happening with possible endangered species of shark fin. And that's the thing that we're really pointing out here, as well as the value of the shark fin being extremely highly taxed. That is also being missed, because normally anything above 390 pounds of import value should be declared into customs when it's coming in. But if you were to bring 20 kilograms of shark fin into the UK with a value of over 4,000 pounds, that shows there's a tax evasion issue.
Yeah.
So those are the points we're highlighting there.
They're pretty solid, aren't they?
Yeah.
But you know, it shows you there that the question is so broad. It's such a broad question, and you know, you can kind of see what they're trying to do there, and they're trying to make it almost so broad that you almost can't provide an answer to that. But you know, I quite like that answer, Brendon. To be fair,
yeah,
I don't think I'd have been able to answer it as well as you.
No, that's great. And you know, what we hope that is that once they collect all these evidence submissions, they're going to start seeing some kind of consistency. When they see enough of the same information coming through, although with slight variations, that doesn't matter. I think once they see that the information is coming through and it's all very consistent, which I think it will be, that's what's going to be great, because then they're going to see, yes, there's certainly a need for change here.
What do you think? I'm just trying to think outside the box now, but if they see the value of the worth of fins, do you think there's a possibility that they might actually try and do 50-50, kind of reduce the amount that you can bring in, but then make sure that they're getting revenue from what is being allowed to be brought in? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so well, our response to that, and it's kind of part of the bigger answer I've given to that previous question, was that first of all, imagine somebody coming into the customs. You know, if you think through it practically now, right? Somebody comes into customs, they got a 20 kilogram bag of shark fin. How many shark fins is that? Individual shark fins. How many do you think that would be?
8.
A couple of hundred.
Depends on the size of the shark, Brendon.
Exactly, right. So it really depends on the size of the shark, definitely. So basically you're looking at, depending on, you know, how small the fin, it can be anything between 8 to 60.
Okay.
All right. So you're saying that there's going to be an expert at the border customs control who's going to be able to pick up individual listings and go, yep, oh, yep, that's an endangered. Hammerhead. Oh, no, that one's fine. No, this one's fine. Oh, no, this is an endangered. No, that one's not. You think that's going to happen? So we're trying to say to the government, are you going to be in the position to be able to not only put those procedures in place, but enforce it as well? It's going to open up this big box of problems, right? So wouldn't it just be easier just to say no?
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound like such a much better idea? That's the angle we're playing. Right? So rather than trying to come up with all these extra procedures that's going to cost a lot more money and training and isn't it easier just to say nothing? And that's our proposal.
Yeah, yeah. So if they approach if they approach you to give you a job, Kristian, on importation, your value is too high. Okay.
Yeah.
give me some DNA barcoding methods, and I'll give it a good go.
That's it. So you need to set up a laboratory in each customs hall with all the equipment, state-of-the-art equipment that you need to diagnose the DNA of every shark species that comes in.
It's an impossible task, isn't it?
It is.
It can be done.
It's definitely an impossible task. I think what's important to note is that sustainable shark fisheries are a thing, and we should make that clear, I think, to the audience. However, in this example, the task required by people at border control to ensure that these fins are coming from a sustainable shark fishery is so difficult. The methods they would have to have in place far exceed what they would be able to do compared to just being like, actually, no, you can't bring it in. But I think it is important that we do say sustainable shark fisheries do exist in the world. I don't think we will ever be able to stop the fishing and finning of sharks because it's so widespread. But I think in this example that we're using here, it's so difficult for them to really get a hold on it. Essentially. Yeah.
Well, this is one of the things that Brendon and Liz have been on about for years. I know when I was working in PNG, and they were talking about looking after the sharks there, and the instant go-to for Brendon was, well, which airlines fly out of PNG and do they carry fins? It's you can't cut the head off the snake, but you can certainly make a lot of damage to the neck of it, can't you?
You just make it increasingly difficult. That's it. Stop the transportation routes, higher the taxes, increase the permit needs, those kind of things to try and bottleneck it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, fellas, I think we'll wrap it up for now. It's been great seeing you both. We must do this more often. It's been far too long, especially we get this year out the way and stroll on into a fantastic new year and 2021.
Oh, yes.
All the very best for Christmas. I hope you get very, very drunk and enjoy the time with the family as well, Brendon.
Thank you very much.
Kristian's already started on the Baileys.
1:30 in the morning here, Matt. This is what we do in England.
Thanks for joining us, fellas. I'll speak to you soon.
Very good. Nice to see you, Kristian. Take care.
Cheers, chaps. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This is Scuba Goat Under the Sea, the podcast for the inquisitive diver.